And what if I told you that there is a moment in every person's life when a single act of courage can completely change their story? Imagine a young waitress, invisible to most, about to show the world that true millionaires are not those who have money, but those who carry immeasurable dreams in their hearts. In this video, you will discover how a simple musical performance can turn into the greatest confrontation against prejudice you have ever seen. A story that will make you rethink everything you believe about talent, power, and overcoming challenges. Under the yellowish glow of the lights in the La Fontaine restaurant, Deborah danced between the tables with the grace of someone carrying a hidden dream in her heart. Her eyes, even tired after long hours of work as a waitress, sparkled with a light of hope that no one could extinguish. Music was her true calling. But for now, her stage was that small restaurant in Raleigh, North Carolina, where each dish served hid an untapped musical note. The piano in the corner of the room was like a silent friend watching her, a witness to a talent that begged to be revealed. Deborah knew that her journey of overcoming was just beginning, and each challenge would be a step toward achieving her dream of studying music. The silent discrimination in the job market, the inequality she saw every day, all of this fueled her determination to one day show the world her true potential. On that sunny afternoon, Deborah had no idea that her life was about to change completely. The resilience she carried would be tested in a way she could never have imagined, transforming not only her trajectory, but also serving as inspiration for all who had ever felt small in the face of great challenges. Destiny was preparing for her a confrontation that would reveal not only her musical talent, but also her inner strength to face prejudice and arrogance with humility and courage. The atmosphere in the La Fontaine restaurant changed completely when Leonard Grayson walked through the door. Tall, wearing a tailored suit that screamed power and wealth, he carried an energy of authority that made everyone feel small. His eyes, cold as steel, scanned the room and quickly focused on Deborah, like a predator identifying its potential prey, in a clear demonstration of discrimination and disrespect. Leonard did not try to hide his arrogance. His calculated movements and mocking smile betrayed someone used to humiliating others for the simple feeling of power. Deborah felt her whole body tense as she sensed the millionaire's penetrating gaze on her, a tension that mixed fear with a deep anger against that kind of behavior that so disqualified workers like her. Her co-workers noticed Deborah's discomfort, but no one dared to intervene. Leonard represented not only wealth, but a power structure that silenced the most vulnerable. The young waitress took a deep breath, using all her resilience to maintain her composure, knowing that this moment would be just another challenge in her journey of overcoming and personal growth. Leonard seized the opportunity to demonstrate his cruelty, using sharp words like knives to cut Deborah's self-esteem. "Hey waitress," he called mockingly. "I heard you have some hidden musical talent. Aren't you going to show us?" His voice carried a subtle poison of prejudice and discrimination, provoking suppressed laughter among his companions, who watched the scene with malice. The young woman tried to look away, feeling the weight of humiliation grow with each passing second. Her body trembled slightly, but her determination was greater than her fear. The community around seemed frozen, witnessing that silent confrontation that represented much more than a simple challenge. It was a battle against veiled racism and the power structures that marginalized dreamers like her. The atmosphere was charged with an almost palpable tension, where each of Leonard's words seemed to build invisible walls of inequality. Deborah took a deep breath, aware that this moment would be a crucial test for her identity and resilience. Her eyes, once downcast, began to shine with courage, signaling that she was about to transform that provocation into an opportunity to demonstrate her true worth. The silence in the restaurant was piercing when Leonard pointed challengingly at the piano in the corner of the room. "Let's see if you really have that talent," he provoked, his eyes filled with scorn and arrogance. Deborah felt her heart race, but something inside her, perhaps her deep thirst for justice and overcoming, urged her to stand up, accepting the challenge that could define her trajectory. Her steps were shaky, but determined. Each movement carried the weight of years of suffocated dreams, of moments when her music was silenced by discrimination and prejudice. As she sat on the piano bench, Deborah took a deep breath, letting her fingers find the keys, as if they were old friends reunited after a long separation. The first notes emerged softly, almost like a whisper of hope, but quickly gained strength and depth. Her performance was more than music. It was a declaration of resilience, a silent scream against all the barriers that tried to impede her growth. With her eyes closed, Deborah transformed each note into a narrative of empowerment, challenging all who doubted her potential. Sas. The crystal clear sound of the piano filled every corner of the La Fontaine restaurant, creating an atmosphere of complete transformation. The customers, once scattered in their conversations, were now completely hypnotized by Deborah's performance, witnessing not only a musical talent, but an authentic manifestation of courage and overcoming. The music transcended the limits of simple melody, becoming a powerful statement against discrimination and silent prejudices. Leonard, once so arrogant and challenging, began to feel his power crumble. His eyes, once filled with scorn, now showed a mix of surprise and discomfort. The young waitress he had tried to publicly humiliate was transforming that moment of potential embarrassment into a performance that revealed not only talent, but also profound resilience and dignity. Tante! The energy in the room changed rapidly. What was once a space of potential humiliation was now transforming into a stage of recognition and admiration. The initial whispers gave way to a respectful silence, where each note seemed to tell a story of struggle, identity, and hope. Deborah was not just playing music. She was rewriting the rules of a game that had historically marginalized her. The last chord faded throughout the restaurant as an emotional silence took over the atmosphere. Suddenly, a wave of applause erupted, starting timidly and quickly transforming into a standing ovation that seemed ready to bring down the walls of La Fontaine. Deborah, still seated at the piano, opened her eyes and saw dozens of amazed faces, some with tears in their eyes, celebrating not only her musical performance, but her incredible journey of overcoming challenges. Her co-workers, once invisible in the scene, were now applauding her with a pride that transcended mere admiration. These were claps that represented a collective victory against discrimination, a silent shout of respect and recognition. The transformation was complete. From a simple waitress to an artist who had earned the respect of everyone present. Leonard, forced by the collective pressure, began to clap hesitantly and uncomfortably. His artificial gesture contrasted with the genuine emotion filling the restaurant. Each clap from him seemed a silent surrender, an involuntary acknowledgement that true power did not lie in his wealth or social position, but in Deborah's courage and talent. With the grace of someone who masters not only the piano keys, but also her own destiny, Deborah stood up and looked Leonard directly in the eyes. "My talent does not need your approval," she said, with a voice that mixed sweetness and determination, revealing a deep awareness of her own worth. Each word was a precise blow against the power structure that tried to belittle her, a declaration of personal emancipation that echoed beyond those walls. Her body, once hunched by fear, now radiated an energy of empowerment that transformed the environment. The young waitress demonstrated that her performance was not a response to Leonard, but an authentic expression of her true passion. For her, music represented much more than notes. It was an instrument of resistance, a tool for social transformation against all forms of discrimination. The gazes around confirmed the impact of that moment. Deborah was not just responding to a challenge. She was rewriting the rules of a game historically built to marginalize her. Her response was a silent manifesto of self-respect, where each word carried the strength of years of suffocated dreams, finally released. The power in the restaurant had completely shifted, as if an invisible energy had redrawn the entire social hierarchy present. Leonard, once so sure of his position, now felt smaller than a grain of sand in the face of Deborah's strength. His friends, who had once laughed and supported his provocations, now looked at him with a mix of embarrassment and disappointment, realizing the true face of his arrogance. The restaurant community, once silent, began to openly show support for Deborah. Customers approached, offering words of encouragement, recognizing not only her musical talent, but her extraordinary resilience. Each positive comment was like an additional blow to Leonard's already fragile self-esteem, as he watched his power dissolve rapidly in front of that young waitress. The confrontation had transformed into something much larger than a simple musical challenge. It was a battle against prejudice, against the silent discrimination that often suffocates talents and dreams. Deborah now represented a symbol of overcoming, someone who not only responded to the challenge, but completely transcended it, leaving Leonard not only defeated, but utterly demoralized in front of everyone. The waves of admiration provoked by her musical performance began to spread beyond the walls of the La Fontaine restaurant. A music producer, who was among the customers that afternoon, approached Deborah, handing her his business card with a smile of recognition. "Your talent needs to be known," he said, opening the doors to an opportunity that could completely transform her life trajectory. The news of her extraordinary performance quickly spread throughout the Raleigh community, turning that moment of confrontation into an inspiring narrative of overcoming challenges. Local newspapers began to take an interest in the story of the waitress who defied expectations, creating a wave of solidarity and admiration that transcended the limits of the restaurant. Each person saw in Deborah not just a talented musician, but a symbol of resistance against discrimination. Thence, social media began to share the video of her performance, multiplying her reach and amplifying the possibilities for her musical career. Invitations for performances, scholarship offers, and opportunities that once seemed distant were now materializing as a direct result of her courage and talent. Deborah was about to discover that her music could be much more than a hidden dream. It would be her passport to a new reality. Alone in her room that night, Deborah mentally revisited each moment of the day that changed her life. The reflection on her journey of overcoming was deeper than any melody she had ever played. Her experience represented much more than a simple confrontation. It was a living lesson on how resilience can completely transform our trajectory, breaking invisible chains of prejudice and limitation. Her thoughts dance like musical notes, connecting each moment of difficulty with the inner strength that kept her standing. The challenge with Leonard had not been just a moment of humiliation, but an opportunity to demonstrate her true essence. A woman capable of turning criticism into fuel for her personal growth. The music, which had once been a hidden dream, now revealed itself as her most powerful tool for expression and liberation. The young woman understood that her story could inspire thousands of people who felt invisible or diminished by society. Her performance represented not only musical talent, but a cry of hope for all those who had ever been silenced. Deborah smiled, realizing that her greatest music was yet to be composed, the symphony of her own life, written with courage, determination, and self-love. And then came the moment to ask the question that could change everything. What dream do you have hidden inside you that you have not yet had the courage to reveal? How many times have you allowed arrogant and powerful people to diminish your light? Deborah shows us that true power does not lie in money, status, or social position, but in the courage to be authentic and believe in oneself. I challenge you to do things differently starting today. Look in the mirror and repeat, I am capable, I am talented, I deserve to shine. Don't let criticism, prejudice, or judgment suffocate your dreams. Each of us carries a unique melody, an extraordinary story that needs to be told. Your performance may be waiting to be revealed right now. If this story inspired you, if you felt every word, every musical note resonating in your soul, then you cannot leave without taking action. Subscribe to the channel now, turn on notifications, and get ready for more stories that will make you believe that personal transformation is possible. Share in the comments, what is your dream that still needs to be revealed? Together, let's build a community of people who refuse to be limited by anything or anyone.